So I was inspired to make this video a little while back by something that happened at work, and just getting around to making it now. So a couple came in with their daughter, and they had a paint chip, and they were going to paint their daughter's room. It was awesome. It's great. That's a nice thing to do. So I'm chatting with the parents, trying to figure out what kind of paint, talking about the color, and all the while their daughter's just kind of standing there like this. Doesn't really look grumpy, just like a neutral look on her face. Didn't say a single word. And by the way, that's something that I learned a long time ago, is like a lot of people aren't even aware of this, but how you stand when you are talking to people or interacting with people can make a big difference. Like standing like this is just such a closed stance. You know, I like to have my hands open, you know, look at me. Just not crossed, you know, or like hands on a counter or something, and just like leaning forward, you know. Body language is important in communication. A lot of people know this. Some people just aren't aware of it. Anyways, so for the time that she wasn't standing there like that, she was just kind of sitting on her phone, reading, doing whatever. I don't know what she was doing on there. But yeah, I don't think she said a single word for like the first half of our conversation that we had there. So I'm making the paint, make the paint for them, finding all that stuff, and I'm just about to ring them through, and I look at her and I was like, "Where's your smile? You're getting your room painted. This should be exciting." And she says, "I wanted to paint my room turquoise, but my parents didn't let me, so they made me pick a gray color." And then the dad kind of chuckles. He's like, "Oh, I didn't want to do 4 coats. That's way too much work for me." And I was thinking, you know, we have ways we can make a turquoise that you don't have to do 4 coats, you know. And he's like, "Oh, whatever. We already figured it out." So this is like one form of where like communicating probably would have helped, and you know, everyone would have won. You know, if instead of the dad just assuming that he had to do 4 coats, maybe doing a little bit of looking into it to see if there's options that, you know, there are options where you don't have to. So unfortunately, this little girl had to pick a boring color that she probably didn't want, and when she could have had the color that she wanted, dad could have had the amount of labor that she wanted. You know, we would have got a little bit more of a sale at the store. Everybody wins. So I feel like brushing things off a little bit too easily and not wanting to communicate or look into things a little bit further is a big problem nowadays. A lot of people are saying that social media is kind of, you know, taking the personalized thing out of humans, and I disagree with that. I think we're more connected than ever. I think we just have to be more aware of the human experience when we're in the moment. I think therein kind of lies the issue, is because we get so used to this communicating over text message or emojis or Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff that, you know, we don't exactly know, or we kind of get more uncomfortable in situations where we have to talk to another human being face to face. A perfect example is if I can use an app to order a pizza rather than call the store, I 100% will, and I know there are people out there that agree with me with that. But every once in a while, I do like the experience of just talking to somebody, and yeah, you know, just kind of just having a conversation. And, you know, one thing that I do a lot of, anyone I work with can attest to this, is whenever somebody asks me how I'm doing, I will almost never say good. Almost never say, like, "Good, how are you?" If I say that, it's because I'm either, like, in a big rush, or I don't know, I'm not thinking at the time. It's very, very rare. I'll always say some sort of, you know, different word. Like if I'm having like an awful day, like just like a terrible, terrible day, you know, like, "Oh, how are you doing?" I'll be, "Oh, unbelievable. How are you?" Unbelievable is a great word for when you're having a terribly bad time and you don't want to explain yourself, because every time I say it, it's just like the worst day. But yeah, unbelievable. How are you? And they're like, "Oh, that's so great. That's so awesome." And yeah, it could be, or it could be just absolutely terrifying. Either way, it's unbelievable. Feel free to use it. I use it a lot. I really like that term. Or, you know, if I'm having a good day, I'll just find different ways to say good. Like, "I'm fine and dandy like sour candy," or, you know, "Doing great, couldn't be better." You know, just something to kind of just add a little bit more personality to that conversation. So there's not just like canned responses. "Hi, how are you?" "Good, how are you?" "I'm good." You know, you kind of open it up for conversation a little bit more, or, you know, people are kind of like, "Oh, that must be really good." And then you can jump into a different type of conversation from there. So finding different ways to use things for like common questions and stuff that, you're asked all the time. I think that's an important part of communication that, a lot of people could use more. And you're probably like avoiding a lot of conversations you could be having, by just closing down those answers right there and then. Now, I've been in sales in some form or another for pretty much all my life. Just started in retail, moved on to finance, and now I'm back in retail. Love it. It's great. A lot of people. I don't have a usual retail job, plus I work with awesome people, so I think that makes all the difference. You have a good crew of people to work with. Every day is just fun. We laugh all the time. It's great. But when I was in sales, when I was first starting out, I was selling electronics, and I took this course called the 1010 Sales Course. And you guys may not know about it, but one thing that was probably the most important thing that I kind of took away from it was dealing with different personalities. Obviously, there's a ton of different personalities out there, so, blanket leveling and labeling everybody isn't going to be too much of a thing, but there's 4 that I focused on in general, and I wanted to share it with you, and I also want you to post in the comments after this which one of these sounds familiar. I'm really curious, where you guys think you stand as far as, this goes. So there's a driver, expressive, analytical, and supportive, or you could acronym it as D's. D's nuts. Got him. Anyways, the driver is the one that I've always struggled the most with, and I think maybe a lot of people do, because they're the person that they just want what they want, and they're going to go after it, and they're going to get it, and they don't want to talk. They don't care how you're doing. They just want to get what they get, and they want to get out. Sometimes, if I've had a long day at work and I have to go to the grocery store to get something, I know who the cashiers are that are going to sit there and yak at me and ask me how my day are, and I'll purposely go to the ones that aren't them, because I just want to get in there, get my food, and get out. And I find the most efficient person that I can to do that, to help me with it. And so this is kind of a way that you can appeal to most people, and communicate well with most people. So like a driver, for example, come in to say, I used to sell cameras, so they come in and they say, hey, I want this camera and I want it right now. And he said, absolutely, go get the camera, sell them the camera. If the camera isn't going to work without a memory card, you need a memory card. I don't want you to get it home and find out you have a memory card. All right, give me a memory card. There's your upsell. Don't bullshit, just get them in, get them out. That's the driver for you. Then there's the expressive. Pretty sure we all know somebody like this. Expressive is the really loud, the look at me, wears all sorts of probably brand name clothes. It's a lot about them, and they want to make themselves, stand out, which is fine. That's cool. That's a cool way to live. I'm cool with it. So then you have to find a way to make, to tailor your conversations, your interactions to kind of focus around them a little bit more, don't talk as much. Let them tell their stories, react to their stories, ask them questions about their stories and their happenings and stuff like that. And that's really important to them, because they want you to care about them, obviously. So then you show them that, wow, you're so interesting, you're crazy. And then they're more likely to like you, trust you, and all sorts of stuff when it comes to whatever you need them to do. Then there's the analytical. I've never really found this too hard to deal with, but it is kind of annoying. It is those people that need to know like every single little detail. They need to understand how things work 110%. And if there's any if you're showing at all that you might be second guessing yourself or that you don't have the knowledge that they need, they'll go find somebody else, So, like I said, this is just really a kind of annoying sometimes, because they ask things that are a little bit more than what you really need to tell them or what they ever really need to know, but they're trying to break it down in their head, and that's how they do that. They have to understand everything on each different level. So this is where a lot of knowledge comes in, and paying attention and stuff, and not only trying to sell things to somebody, but also just interacting with people. People, these personality type is a lot less likely to trust and engage with you if they don't know that you know what you're talking about, or or at least don't admit that you don't know what you're talking about. That was a big issue for me a lot of the times, is when I was telling people, when I was working and stuff, I wouldn't know something, but I didn't want to make it look like I didn't know something. And later on, I learned that people are much more appreciative if you just say, you know what, not sure, but I know exactly where to find the answer. Let me go look. So learning that, gave me a lot more confidence, because now I don't have to worry about knowing everything. I can just need to know where to find the information, and that helped me a lot. The last one is supportive. I would say this is probably me, I think. This is the person that needs a lot of reassurance and kind of coaxing and stuff, to go into whatever, a new event or something like that. They need, like it says, support. You need to understand that they have someone there for them, someone that's, going to be with them, through thick and thin. I saw this a lot I see it a lot, and I think we all will probably see it at retail. Someone's painting the house from start to finish, or, okay, I got the rooms done, the rooms are okay, but now I have this handrail, and I've never painted a handrail before, so then you have, you walk them through all the steps of doing whatever, and, then they come back to you, and they're, attracted to you because they know that, you give them the support that they need and the encouragement that they need to, go ahead with whatever they're doing in life. So, like I mentioned, if any of these, which one sounds the most like you, post it in the comments below. Let's see where we're all at. And this isn't, of course, to, negate things like social anxiety, or if you live in a bad area and it might just be dangerous to talk to people. I'm not saying ignore things like that, but I'm just saying, the chance of engaging in a conversation with somebody, there's been so many times where I've just kind of put myself out there, or just, somebody who just seems like they never have anything to say. I made a challenge with one of the customers at the store. He's exactly like that. He's come in, all he does is he gets his paint, he leaves. He's never said anything more than I'm here to pick up this, thank you, goodbye. And one day I just opened up and I was like, so what's your story? What do you do? And what do you do for a hobby? Found out he's in a rock band. That's crazy. You never would have guessed this by finding out this guy. He was really excited to talk about it too, and I felt like that was a really cool thing. So yeah, you never know what you might learn or you might discover just by, opening that can of responses and pulling a different one out, finding something different to say. And I guess that's why I like doing what I do here so much, is I get to kind of have my thoughts like this and just kind of put them out there for you guys and anyone that appreciates it. So I appreciate you listening to me and letting me communicate to you, and communicate something to me, whatever you want it to be. I want to hear about it.
Let's turn up the heat.